Have you ever wondered why your eyes are blue and not green? Or maybe you have big feet? Well, now's the time to look at it and see what we can figure out. Let's do a quick review for some vocabulary terms real quick. As you can see on the screen, hybrid and pure. If you remember, you get half of your DNA from your mom and half of your DNA from your dad. So when those combine, it gives you the traits that you have. Hybrid means that the two alleles that you get from your mom and your dad are different. One is dominant, one is recessive. As you can see on the screen, there's an example, an uppercase letter and a lowercase letter. This is called heterozygous, two different alleles. Now, if the alleles you get from your mom and your dad are both the same, those are called pure. Both are dominant or both are recessive. As you can see there in the example, both uppercase or both lowercase. This is called homozygous. Two different words, genotype and phenotype. The genotype is the genetic makeup, what alleles you actually have, which if you're just looking at an organism, you cannot see the genotype. The phenotype is what you can visibly see. That would be examples like plant height. Is it tall or is it short? Or eye color. Do you have blue eyes or brown eyes or green eyes? The genotype is your genetic makeup. The phenotype is what you can actually see. So let's look at a couple of Punnett squares and see what Punnett squares can do for us. So what exactly is a Punnett square and what does it show us? How does it help us? A Punnett square is simply, it's a square, and it allows us to cross two sets of genotypes, two sets of alleles, to see what the possibility of the offspring could be and the percentages for those offspring. So let's just look at a bunch of examples here. Let's look at some plant height. With our plants, we have tall plants, which is the dominant trait, and short plants, which are the recessive trait. Here are my two parent plants. Here's one parent up here at the top. This parent is hybrid, two different alleles, so that means they are heterozygous, has the dominant trait of tall. This parent, same thing, heterozygous, hybrid. It will also be tall. So we have two parent plants here. What is the chance or the probability that these two tall parents could have a short offspring? Is it even possible? So what the Punnett square allows us to do is to set this up to see it a lot easier. So if we take this allele and we cross those two things, we would get two uppercase T's. We would get a pure homozygous offspring, which would be tall. If we take this allele and that allele, so we're making this cross right here, we would get an uppercase and a lowercase, which would be heterozygous, but still dominant and still give us a tall offspring. Same thing here. We would cross this one with this one right here. So we would get an uppercase and a lowercase, which would give us the same offspring, heterozygous, dominant, which would also be tall. But look right here. When we cross these two right here, we get a pure recessive offspring, a homozygous, because the alleles are the same. So with these two tall parents, is it possible to get a short offspring? Yes, it is. Is it a very good possibility? No, because out of this, each one of these would be 25%. Tall, tall, tall. So it's 75% chance the offspring would be tall, but there is a small probability, 25%, that it could be short. Let's look at another one. All right, so what we have here is a dominant parent up here at the top, and this is a pure homozygous tall parent. Over here, the second parent is short. So we have a tall parent and a short parent. The short parent is also homozygous, but it is a recessive. So is it possible to get a short offspring with these two parents? All right, let's make these crosses right here. Here we would get an upper and a lower, which would give us a tall offspring, heterozygous, tall. What would we get here? Same thing here. We would get an upper and a lower, so we would get another tall offspring. Here, whoops. We would get another heterozygous offspring, which would still be tall, and here we would also get a heterozygous. So in this example, we have a tall parent and a short parent, but look at the possibilities of the offspring. There is no possibility for a short plant offspring in this example. So let's get started with some specific examples. How about some unichromo dragons? This is example number 1, which is actually the first activity on your lab report. So make sure you have either your lab report handy or some paper and pencils so you can jot down some notes as we go. Our first example is a pair of unichromo dragons. We have a mother and a father. Obviously, the trait that we're going to be looking at is the tails. And they either have a curly tail or a straight tail. But just by looking at these two, do you know which one is the dominant trait without actually seeing the phenotype, the alleles? No. So let's see what we can see here. So there's the alleles for the mother and the father. And as we can see, this capital letter right here for the mother makes the curly tail the dominant trait. Now, this is all well and good, but we have a problem. Our baby dragons do not have tails. It is going to be up to you to determine what kind of tails they will have. For each baby dragon, we're going to roll the dice to see what that baby dragon will have, curly tail or straight tail. This is baby dragon number 1. All right, there's baby dragon number 1. Be sure to record your information on your lab report sheet. All right, ready for baby dragon number 2. There's baby dragon number 2. Be sure to record the information on your lab sheet. Baby dragon number 3. Be sure to record your information on your lab sheet. And last but not least, baby dragon number 4. Be sure to record your information on your lab sheet. Next up on your lab sheet is practice with SpongeBob. There's quite a bit of information on the lab report sheet that you need to complete. And then after SpongeBob is the last example, example number 3, which is a creative type activity that you will be doing on your own with paper and pencil. After this slide, the creative activity has quite a bit of video after this slide to give you the information that you need. So make sure you just encompass all of it and get it all complete and don't miss anything. But you can always pause and go back and look at things too. Now it's your turn to get creative. You will be drawing and coloring an alien superhero that will be visiting planet Earth. But what is this alien superhero going to look like? Well, here we go. We're going to take the genotypes and the phenotypes, roll the dice, see what comes up, and that's how you will be drawing your alien. So you might have a piece of paper and pencil ready so you can jot these down. You can always pause the video and fill in your lab sheet as well. So here we go. Here's the first set for the nose. What are we gonna have? There's the nose. Ears. Horns. All right, there's the first set of 3. Let's go to our next set. The chest, the eyes, and the arms. Let's see what the chest is going to look like. The eyes. And the arms. Again, you can pause if you need to. And the last set, legs, wings, and accessory. So here's our legs. Wings. And accessory. Can't wait to see your drawings. Good luck. Just a reminder, don't forget to upload a picture of your alien superhero at the end of your lab report.